Morning everyone and welcome to Heavy Enduro Racing channel. I'm here with Chris, man behind Heavy Enduro Racing. Chris taken part in many rallies and taken multiple podiums in the rally racing world. And the purpose of the video today is to talk about what we wear, our protective gear, as we do get quite a few questions on the Heavy Enduro Racing pages with regards to protective equipment.
As Asia said, we get a lot of questions about riding gear, along with bike choices, tyre choices, gear ratios, all these kind of things, and a lot of it is personal preference. Me and AJ and a lot of the Heavy Enduro Racing team, we like to do the similar terrain, similar riding on the bigger bikes here to what riders do on their single-cylinder Enduro motorcycles. So for us, we need kit that can both keep us warm and keep us cool when the going gets tough.
So let's talk about very basic things, which is a base layer. Chris prefers to wear a Klim Coolmax base layer. It's a synthetic base layer. He wears pants and the shirt. The whole idea behind the base layer is to stop the abrasion from your protective gear to start with. It helps you with keeping warm. It also helps you with keeping cool by wicking the moisture away from your body, especially when you're riding in a very hot conditions or perhaps doing the desert racing.
So next is boots.
Yeah, they don't have to be white, it's alright.
I like white.
I do as well.
Over the years of racing and trail riding, a very common injury is in the feet. It's very easy to have your foot quickly twisted off by hitting a rock, tree stump, in a rut, hedge, banks, and it results in a broken bone of some description. So for the type of riding we do, it's very important for us to have a very protective boot. So for nearly everyone in the Heavy Enduro Racing team, it is an MX or Enduro boot. The downside is they're a bit heavier, feel a bit cumbersome, it takes a while to get used to them, you kind of have to break them in a bit as well. And they do get more comfortable and you do get used to it, don't you say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It takes a while, but once you break the boots, you get used to the feeling. It's no different than any other boot. It's just if you're used to the light boot, obviously you're going to struggle a little bit to very start with.
Yeah, I mean the biggest problem I had was changing gear because I wasn't used to, there was a lack of feel. You know, you can't move your ankle as easily, so it doesn't take long to adjust, and for us it's definitely worthwhile.
Another essential part to your equipment, obviously, it's a body armor. As you can see, I'm wearing a full body armor. That's what I'm comfortable with. This one, it's particularly good because you can unzip your elbow pads. It's perforated, so it's quite good in the summer. But what I like about this, obviously, you get all sorts of protection. You get your shoulders, everything. It's quite solid and plastic. You get your protection at the back. What I also wear, it's one of those bags. The reason that I like it so much, because you do get a certain amount of lumbar support. There's quite a lot of padding in here, so when I put that on, it really goes well with my armor. I like to be quite heavy armored, not because I fall a lot. Well, I do sometimes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
No, it's just what I'm used to and I'm quite comfortable with it, but you have another view on that from Chris, because Chris uses a little bit of a different system to myself.
I run with a slightly lighter setup. In my eye, it's just as protective. AJ will probably argue that one, but that's what personal preference is all about. As most of my riding is in the desert, that's where I like to race. I want to try and stay cool and a little bit lighter. I don't have the built-in shoulder and elbow protection that AJ has, but I have that instead built into my jacket, which I wear over the top. You'll notice on both our armour setups we have a one-piece chest protection panel. The reason is that I used to run body armour with a zip up the middle. It was kind of like a jacket, it was a lot easier to put on, a lot quicker in the mornings, that kind of thing. But when I crashed, I broke my sternum. This is a much larger surface area. As a rally racer, a very common thing is to go over the bars and have a chest impact into the road book.
So I normally have a race jersey on top of my armor. I'm quite happy running with the jacket, that's normally what happens. But when it gets really hot, I do like to remove my jacket, and the benefit for me, because the protection is not built into the jacket itself, I still got full protection on under my race jersey, so that's what I like and I prefer. Alternatively, when it's not too hot and I'm just getting a little bit warm, I can always remove my sleeves and run with the vest rather than the full jacket on. Yeah, at some point later in the year we will be having a race jersey made by Klim.
We will, yep. Hopefully by the end of the year they will come out. We're at the design stage, but that's going to be really nice to have a professionally made item from a big company. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Definitely.
So AJ's final layers are his Dakar pants and jacket. Believe it or not, me and AJ are roughly the same size chest, but AJ runs an XL jacket, I run a large. Reason being that AJ runs a lot bigger, bulkier body armour, where I run with the body armour in the shoulders and elbow into the jacket. I think you naturally like a kind of a looser fit, don't you?
Yes, I do. I prefer that little bit of flapping in the wind rather than really tight and restricting my movement, so to say.
But it is fair to say as well that with that body armour you cannot get a large on.
No, it gets tight. It really gets tight. Yeah.
The great thing about this jacket, again, for our type of riding where we want to be warm and when things get technical we want to stay cool as well, this jacket has loads of vents. There are a massive one here, huge vents there, two up here, and then on the sleeves you can open it this way just to get a little bit of air in, and if you open it fully this way you can get a massive load of air in, and that really does keep you cool. On the back there are two exhaust vents here, and while we're at the back here you can see a huge pocket. For me that's where I store some of my mid layers. AJ, I guess you're going to fill it with vodka?
Oh yeah.
No, it's
probably
really
not.
Keep your spare gloves, your food, or kind of, and because you also like to sometimes take the sleeves off, perfect, the sleeves fit in that back pocket, so you haven't got to worry about trying to fit them in your luggage and mess around.
That's right. What basically happened yesterday, with my old jacket I used to take the sleeves off pretty much after 2 lanes, and yesterday what I found, and only opened the vents that way on both and opened those vents, and it was perfect. It was absolutely fine. I was cool enough so I didn't struggle with any of it, but as I said, normally first thing I do when I'm go laning I just take the sleeves off and run with the vest only.
Yeah, and yesterday you said I just didn't need to do that.
No, not at all.
We talk about ventilation and jacket, it's also the same with the pants. AJ's got 2 huge vents here in his trousers, and these are a bit heavier than an enduro pair of trousers, but for rally racing a lot of it's on gravel and stone. It's got a much higher abrasive resistance than the lighter enduro trouser.
When we talk about abrasion resistance, I think we should mention my quite a spectacular crash yesterday. It was quite quick.
Yeah, your bike's looking good, AJ.
Yeah, I think we have a little bit of work to do on all good to get it back to the
What do you
former
mean
glory.
Me?
Well, yeah, maybe. So yeah, I crashed literally in this gear yesterday. It was quite a big crash. I got small concussion, got up, really walked away lightly, just stiff neck today and a little bit of that, but no injuries. Jacket, well, it's undamaged, pants are undamaged, everything is fine. And yes, I do prefer the big body armor, perhaps for that exact reason. Accessories, guys, just a neck tube. It's quite useful, to be honest. Believe it or not, when it gets a bit cold it protects your neck, and when it gets sunny and hot it protects your neck as well. Or when you break down in the middle of a desert, you just put it over your head, avoid the sunburn. As I don't think you would like that. I've done it before and I'm quite bold, so I get the sun quite easily. What happens basically, your head gets burned, you put it in the helmet and it's not a very nice place to be, so this is definitely very useful for me.
Yeah, and for myself again, in the desert, if I'm getting really hot and uncomfortable, I use the emergency water either out of my hydration bag or off the bike, soak it in water, put it on, and it's a very kind of instant cooling effect. Just a very useful and very simple and very cheap item. Available from all good heavy enduro websites. So, AJ will take the mick out of me for this, but this is a heated vest which I plug into my bike, and I love it. It's just been a fantastic purchase for me. On things like the eco race, it can be really cold in the morning, and obviously you can get very warm later on. So just to have this, and it's light, small. This again will fold down and fit in the back pocket of the Dakar jacket there. I haven't got to worry about where I'm going to put it or carrying bags or anything like that. And for me, I just love it. It's my next layer is a mid layer. This is a wind cheater, and again just another layer just to help keep you warm, especially when I'm adventure riding and I'm on the road for a few hours. This just keeps me a lot more comfortable. And finally, same as AJ, I have my Dakar jacket. So I don't think I did that as elegantly as you.
No, perhaps not. But as you said, Chris wears large one. As we mentioned before, it's just the difference between wearing a full body armor like I do and having a armor built into the jacket. Thing to mention about this gear, this is not waterproof. As brilliant as it is and it's breathable, this is not your Gore-Tex material or anything like that. So you need to have different arrangement in place to get some waterproof layer on top of that if you're thinking of riding in rain or when you're getting caught out somewhere in the field.
So that's it. I hope that's answered some of your questions. As I say, everything is personal preference. This just happens to be our preferences for our riding gear. Thanks for watching.
Cheers guys.